Update 7.0 for Star Wars The Old Republic is possibly the largest update we've had in years. If you're considering returning to the game to experience the plethora of content that's going to be added, you might be stuck wondering which class you need to play if you haven't played for a while. There are 8 classes to choose from in total, so I'm going to help you figure out which one you want to play, and don't worry, I'm not going to spoil anything. The first and most important rule of playing SWTOR is to have fun. This game is all about the freedom of choice and doing what you enjoy. You don't have to do what anybody tells you to do, you can pick whatever class you want and enjoy it. This is a great game and there's something in it for every type of player. The Old Republic allows you to choose between 2 factions, the Galactic Republic and the Sith Empire, the classic tale of good versus evil, or light versus dark. You can't reverse this choice, although you can play as a light side or a dark side character regardless of which faction you choose. Now that you've picked a faction, it's time to pick a class. Each faction has 4 classes for you to pick from, with each class currently having 2 advanced classes that affect the style of your gameplay, but not the story. However, with update 7.0, this system is going to be overhauled with something called combat styles. The Republic classes that you can pick are Jedi Knights, who are stalwart protectors of the galaxy. They use their lightsabers and other martial skills to protect the Republic from its enemies. Jedi Consulars, who use their wisdom and knowledge of the Force to serve the galaxy. Smugglers, who take advantage of the conflict between the Empire and the Republic to make a pretty penny by ferrying goods between planets. And finally Troopers, who use their training and discipline and service to the Republic in order to protect their people. The same applies to the Sith Empire. Each of the 4 Republic characters are mirrored by the opposing faction, with Jedi Knights currently being the same as Sith Warriors, Jedi Consulars being the same as Sith Inquisitors, Smugglers the same as Imperial Agents, and Troopers the same as Bounty Hunters. Abilities are shared between the classes and their opposing mirror, but the story is different for each one of them. With the incorporation of combat styles, players will be able to choose 2 different styles of gameplay from some of the available classes, depending on their original class, regardless of their story. Before the update, if I wanted to play the Smuggler story, then I had 2 options. I could be a scoundrel or I could be a gunslinger. It would have no effect on the story, but once I'd picked one advanced class, I could not go back and try the other one. I had to make a new character if I wanted to. When the new update drops, players will be able to choose their first combat style and story straight away, but it's worth noting that Jedi and Sith can only choose between the classes in their faction for now. So a Sith warrior could not choose to be a Jedi Guardian or vice versa, but there is an exception to this that we'll cover later. Tech characters do not have this restriction since they are not limited by the alignment of their character. You could be dark side or light side and still pick a combat style from the enemy faction. So for example, as a smuggler I could choose to be a sniper or a commando. It doesn't matter which because I can pick any of the 8 available. There are 3 roles that players can fulfill on their characters. The easiest and most common is the damage dealer or DPS, which stands for damage per second. Every advanced class in the game has at least one specialisation that's focused on dealing damage, so they're often the easiest role to fill in group content and, depending on the class, are quite easy to play. Then you have the healers, who are all about restoring and maintaining the health of allies in PvE and PvP. Without the healers, a lot of players would die very quickly and things like flashpoints or operations could be over before they even start. Overall, healers are very useful to have in your team and playing one is very rewarding. Last but not least are the tanks, who are walking behemoths that are capable of sustaining an incredible amount of damage, which they put to use by taking all of the aggression from enemies and bosses so that the damage dealers can focus on getting the job done. Without these guys, everyone else would suffer and DPS and healer characters wouldn't be able to do what they do best. There's a lot of strategic positioning that goes into tanking on some bosses, but overall it's easy enough to pick up with practice. The exception to Jedi and Sith combat styles that I mentioned is that if your Jedi is dark side, by the end of chapter 3 of the vanilla story, you'll be able to swap out your animation set to the Sith equivalent of your current one. This means that a Jedi Knight could have access to Force Choke, for example, or a Jedi Consular could use Sith Lightning. Overall, the possibility for combinations is endless and I can't wait to see what players come up with.